You know, we should have made this video a while ago, but it's alright, we'll make up for some lost time. So recently, you may remember, we talked about the My First Thomas brand, or more specifically, the Railway Pals. Now, we've talked about My First Thomas plenty of times, or at least featured it on the channel. We haven't really taken the proper look at it, and today, we're going to change that with what I think, or at least in my opinion, is the best My First Thomas range ever, despite being a little cursed. So, like I said, we featured Goldenbear plenty of times. There's Golden Time, the little series I did for fun a while ago, and hopefully we'll bring back soon. And, you know, besides the live stream where we opened up a big box of these things, I never really reviewed them. We never took the time to take a proper look at what exactly these things are, what they do. I mean, I guess kind of what they look like. And sadly, since I moved, I haven't had the chance to get all of the ones that I actually have back, but I do have quite a few, so let's go ahead and get them ready. Alright, and what you're looking at here are my 4 favorite Goldenbears. Like I said, some of the other ones are currently in a box at my parents' house, but it is what it is. We have these at least. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we will find out not only what makes these things cursed as shit, but also some of the most novel Thomas toys I think you can collect. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, before we jump into this review, just a quick history lesson on Goldenbear itself. Goldenbear is actually the brand that started My First Thomas. That was in 1996, or My First Thomas was. Goldenbear had been around since sometime, I think in 1979, and that was the larger parent company, or I guess eventually brand, that started My First Thomas. So these are kind of the first things that ever took the Thomas design, dumbed them down a little bit, and made them for little kids specifically. And since we've shown him off so much and he's been in my hand, I guess we will start with Percy. Now, I really don't have to say much about the Goldenbear Percy for you to see what's wrong and absolutely right with this thing. Let's start with the most cursed thing. This is straight up just a Thomas design. This is an E2. Percy does not have side tanks. They kind of just took Thomas's mold, colored it green, and put Percy's face on it. But that's the end of the criticisms. I mean, besides that, the green itself is nice. The 6 is pretty good. The wheels match the green. The face is absolutely phenomenal. I think I said phenomenal. Sorry about that. You know, I've actually seen Gauge 1 modelers use molds of these faces just sized up to put on their replicas. They're that good. And Percy's is no exception, as you can see here. And I mean, to be fair, they at least got his configuration right. Most smaller engines are gonna be 04 rows, but for Percy, it works. It's just accurate. That being said, accuracy is completely lost on this guy, and I think that's one of the things that makes him as novel as he is. He's literally just a recolored Thomas, but it still sells being Percy. I mean, like I said, the 6 is perfect. The green is pretty much perfect Percy green. The face is very identifiable as Percy. Save for the shape, they got everything else right. And I think that's probably one of the reasons I like this thing so much. Here on the back, we can see some coal detail. He's also got these little front cab windows. It's just a pretty fun, for being a baby toy, model. It's a pretty cool Percy. I don't think any Percy collection is complete without this monstrosity. It's the best monstrosity I've ever seen, to be fair. Now, Percy's pretty run-of-the-mill. If you've seen Goldenbear at all before, or again, Golden Time, you've seen this guy. You know all there is to know about him. Let's move on to somebody who is probably my second favorite, that being Duck. And just what is going on here? Get rid of that little more. Okay, so this is the Goldenbear Duck, and I mean, just like the Percy, it's small, it's adorable, it's an 040, like I said, so it's not got an accurate configuration, but it's kind of the inverse of Percy. It's got a very accurate shape for being a pannier engine, or duck. Kinda oddly, they gave this guy yellow wheels, and that is something you will see moving on in this video, but it doesn't really take away from Duck. I mean, at least it matches his number here, which is also pretty well applied on both sides. Looks very accurate. And again, this face is just banging. That is a really good duck face. Well, I should mention they all have these little nubby buffers that have been circumcised at some point, but I mean, they're there. That is on both sides. And they also have a little coupling unit, but that's not really going to work unless you have Annie and Clarabelle trucks or their Tinder engines. They don't really couple up to each other. For example, if I try to get Percy to pull this guy, he's just kind of... Don't flag me, YouTube, my bad. I mean, for what it is, it's just adorable. It's the same as Percy. This thing is just a banging representation of duck. All right, let's go ahead and establish these things will have inaccuracies. They are baby toys, let's be honest. But I mean, for being baby toys, they are very well made. That is some hard plastic. This is not gonna break from dropping. The wheels themselves, this rubber is very dense, and that's gonna withstand the test of time. These are just very good toys, and the duck is no exception. He's just a fine representation for what the character is. Goofy as shit. Just like Percy, he has these very tiny well, his cab windows are tiny. Percy's were pretty sizable in comparison. His are these puny little things you see here, and there is the coal detail in the back. Sadly, no back windows. And yeah, same like Percy, no back windows. Now, you can't have Duck without having the inverse of him. No, it's not Oliver. I know. That would be Diesel. Now, what is there to say about Diesel? I mean, again, he's got a very beautiful face, but he's kind of just a loaf of bread. He's just a loaf of bread, that's it. And just like Duck, he also has these yellow wheels. And as random as it is on both, I do think it's cool that those characters, of all characters, match. You know, that in itself kind of works, but it is still jarring to see on both characters. And to be fair, they got Diesel's shape right. I'm not just trying to diss on Diesel, let's be honest. They all are very simplistic, weird-looking character. But again, he's just... Why is he a toaster? All right, we'll stop with the shape. He does not have any windows, just like the others, or coal to look at, since he's a diesel engine. You should know that. And here is the detail here on the side. Looks like we got some little panels there. That is on both sides and applied pretty well. Man, again, it's just the faces on these things. They are always so well made. Diesel's is awesome. And, you know, you can't really have Duck. This is not Duck, that's Percy. You can't really have Duck without having the guy that, you know, almost caught him sent away. It's just the perfect duo. And to be fair, for as goofy as it is, this Diesel is very charming. He looks disgusted, just not happy to be here at all. And in the midst of these very happy little baby toy trains, it's just cool to have that contrasting character. So I would still argue this loaf of bread is essential. Now, currently I have two engines that are Tinder engines, and you saw who it was earlier. The one I have right now is Henry, or On Hand, and this is probably my favorite. The two Tinder engines they have are Henry and Gordon, and Henry is probably my... I have a lot of green engines, as you can tell, but yeah, Henry's probably my favorite. Now, since he's a bigger engine, Henry does have a larger wheel configuration. This is an 060, so we kind of stole it from Thomas, but I mean, look at him next to Percy. It just kind of, again, in this little chibi-like, smaller kid style, it just works. We'll get to the face in a second. You already know what I'm going to say, but here he is. He's pretty much the exact same thing as Gordon, just molded in green, and what is there to say? He's pretty simple. Again, he's a little 060. He rolls pretty well. He's got the little square, or not little, these are pretty big, square windows on the front of the cab, and nothing on the back save for the coupler that you connect to his Tinder. We also have splashers here covering the three wheels, which are pretty large and exaggerated. Now let's get to the face. The face itself, again, is just phenomenal. I can't believe they took these simplistic, very... let's just goofy trains and put the most accurate, or show accurate faces they could on these of all things. Bachman, wake up, please, come on. If Goldenbear can do it. Now, when it comes to Henry, there's really not a lot to him. Again, he's just Gordon, colored green, very basic detail. He does have square buffers, different from Percy and the other guys we saw, which is, or not square, rectangular buffers, which is pretty cool. Now let's take a look at this Tinder, which Again, very simplistic, but it's still coolly as one. Now, these sit on 4 wheels. The 3 is put here in the middle, and I think this is the first number that looks a little bit weird. It's that part. It's the middle section of the 3. It just looks off to me. That's a little weird, but, you know, 1 of 4. You can't really complain there. Or 1 of 2. Diesel doesn't have numbers. You know what I mean. And that is on both sides. Here's a better look at the coal on the top. Kind of weirdly, he doesn't have a red buffer beam like Henry does here. You know, maybe it wouldn't be hard one day to mask off this thing and paint that myself, but I don't know. That's feels a little unnecessary with trains this simple. And here's a look at the couplers that connect to the back of the engines. It's this little round bit that sits on top of this peg. So there we go. Henry is now connected to such and can pull it along. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, what exactly is the appeal of Goldenbear? You know, save for these very accurate faces. I mean, they're simplistic, they're weird, they're cute, but what is it that makes these things so cool? In my opinion, it's just the novelty. You will never see another Percy quite like this, at least licensed by Thomas and Friends. I don't think they would allow another Percy to be made like this. And thank God they did it at least once. You know, the faces may not matter to a lot of people, but to me, that is a detail that even companies now, like Bachmann, not to just keep shitting on them, but a lot of companies just don't do it. They don't really take the time to make it what consumers want, which is, you know, show accuracy. Baby Toys did it. Baby Toys did it better than most other brands ever have, and that's just cool to me. And again, if you like more simplistic or cute, I guess chibi versions of the Thomas characters, what better designs could be out there? They get almost everything they need to get right. Like Duck, for example. Perfect shape, perfect face. The wheels are a little weird, but that's a pretty easy conversion if you really ever wanted to fix that. At the very least, they are fun to put on shelves and just kind of exist there with you. They are really cool to just see, and knowing that kids at some point had these to play with, it makes me a little jealous. To be fair though, I had take along, so it's either or. It's 50-50. But this, ladies and gentlemen, has been my, I guess, review or closer look at my favorite Goldenbears, or again, the ones I have on hand. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to, well, not only like and subscribe, but comment down below, and I'll go and get my hands on the other ones, and we'll take a closer look at those as well. Really quick, huge shout out and thank you to my patrons for making videos like this possible. If you ever want to be at the end of a video or see them early, be sure to check that out in the description. And ladies and gentlemen, I guess with all of that being said, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Either subscribe, donate, or get the fuck out.